Hello, I'm Zaide Pixley, Professor Emerita at Kalamazoo College. This season, I'm writing the program notes for the Gilmore and giving their pre-concert talks in Chenery Auditorium. On January 13th, the Gilmore Rising Stars series will present Russian pianist Nikita Mndoyants, who will be playing a program of 3 sonatas by Haydn, Beethoven, and Brahms, and an intermezzo of his own composition. I'd like to talk about the Haydn Sonata. Haydn was born in 1732, and in 1761 he began to work for a royal Hungarian family, the Esterházy family. He worked with them until 1791. Prince Nicholas Esterházy was the main patron of Haydn during these days. He was very interested in music and kept his own stable of resident musicians. There was an orchestra, singers. Haydn wrote all kinds of music for Prince Nicholas, chamber music, operas, and especially symphonies. In Esterházy, the country estate in Hungary known as the Hungarian Versailles, Prince Nicholas kept a big concert hall, and in that concert hall, Haydn conducted his symphonies. Haydn's symphonies were extremely important in the history of music. He wrote 104 of them, and the last 12 were written for trips to London that he made in the 1790s. In 1791, Haydn, who was now the preeminent composer in Europe, was able to go to Vienna and live there, keep up with the latest developments, and then make 2 trips to England, where he received an honorary doctorate from Oxford University. Haydn virtually invented the symphony, and they were public music performed in public palaces. As you can see, the Esterházy Palace held a large number of invited guests, and in London at public subscription concerts. Haydn's keyboard sonatas were completely different than his public works, the symphonies. They were intended for private use. They were played by young ladies who couldn't appear on the stage, but stayed at home in their drawing rooms. The forte piano was the ideal instrument for young ladies to play on their own. You can play melody, harmony, you can play rhythm. They were often visited by gentlemen callers who would come with a flute or a violin to accompany the sonata. And Haydn wrote a number of keyboard sonatas that could be accompanied. The instrument these young ladies played was completely different than the big Steinway that we see today. It had a wooden frame. The strings were much more loosely strung, so there was a quick decay. The loudness came from how loud and hard you would hit the hammer, and the softness came from a light touch, thus the forte piano, the loud and soft. On the harpsichord, which was being displaced by the piano, you pluck the string, and that's no variation of loud and soft. Vienna was a hotbed of forte piano construction, and Haydn was able to be there for 2 months in the winter and check out the latest forte pianos. For 10 months, he was back at the Esterházy estate, where he felt isolated and was forced to become inventive, as he said. We'll hear this invention in the sonata that Mndoyants will play. It's deceptively simple, so keep in mind that it's very difficult to bring out all the nuances of this wonderful music. It circulated in manuscript copies, the sonata, instead of being published, and young ladies would copy out their own version of the sonata. In the first movement that we'll hear, Haydn demonstrates the difference between loud and soft. The musical phrases match the sentences that people spoke in the rhetoric that was prized in that day. So we'll hear loud and soft, and also short phrases with space in between. The sonata goes on to have 2 more movements. It's in a fast, slow, fast pattern, as was expected of the day. The second movement is homage to Bach and the Baroque style. It has a walking bass, an ornamented melody, and even some imitation. In the last movement, Haydn sends him home happy. It's a catchy tune with a big ending that goes on to explore all the joys of this new instrument that Haydn enjoyed writing for. Come and hear this music live on January 13th with the Russian pianist Nikita Mndoyants. I'm Zaide Pixley. Thank you for listening. I look forward to seeing you there.